question I ask somebody else is, can you see me doing what you do? People love to mentor other people. When I talked to a bunch of the retreat directors, I said, can you, especially that one who said that I had all the skills to do it already, I said, could you see me doing this? He goes, I can't see you not doing it. Let's just move on to some pitfalls. Pitfalls are easy. I'm just going to pop all of them up here. One is the one that I did. I've done all of these, by the way. Not doing enough research. So I didn't know that I could actually make a living doing what I presently do. The economy excuse is a good one for today's day and age. If people say, well, I can't look for another job because the economy's bad. You might not get another job because the economy's bad, but it doesn't mean you can't look for another job because the economy's bad. I often tell people get hired and fired every day of the week. 365 days a year, somewhere, somebody's hiring somebody for a job. And if you're at the right place at the right time, like I was, I got pretty lucky with what I'm doing. You might find something that was hidden or unbeknownst to you. And it might just happen to happen in a bad economy. Fear is the number one pitfall. We stay in bad relationships, bad jobs, bad situations because it's easy to do so. I'll take a relationship example. The woman that I dated before my wife, God bless her, she had said, we were in this relationship for, I guess, about 9 months and decided to take a break, and probably did that 2 months after we really knew that we should have. Why didn't we immediately go back out there and just say, you know what, this just isn't working, let's just go back out there? Because we were both comfortable with one another. That we were used to sort of the routine of our day-to-day lives together. And it's kind of scary to go back out there and sort of do it all over again. When you have this sort of comfortable person, even though it's really not all that. What's the movie, He's Just Not That Into You, or the book? Same kind of thing, you know? And we took a break and then we got back together. Why? Because we craved that comfort again. And it was easier for us to sort of go back to feeding on that comfort than it would be to just move away. So even when we knew it wasn't a good relationship, and even when we saw that things might even be better if we were apart, we still got back together anyway. So it's a hard thing to sort of overcome. And the same is true in the career. It's easier to stay in a job that you know isn't really good, but you're used to it. You know, you're used to all the things that you're going to have to do each day. You're used to all the times that, and all the people that you have to deal with. You know what to expect, and you don't know what to expect somewhere else. So it might be 10 times as scary, but it also might end up being 10 times as great. Sometimes you might find yourself doing all the things that you're supposed to do, but somehow you are magically still on the couch, and you're not doing the research, you're not getting all the things done that you need to get done, and there might be some kind of mental block there. You might just be sad, and you don't really know why you're feeling sad suddenly. What is it that's preventing you from doing the things that you know you should be doing to move ahead or move on? And if you need help to get there, you should just go and seek it. We all need a little help now and then. I often tell people sort of that I have a spiritual director and a therapist because I need a whole lot of help. And then there's a thing called let me try that again. There is this thing called BHAGs, big, haughty, audacious goals. And people fail to make them. We just kind of say, I have a spiritual director who came to me and I said, so what's going on? He said, well, I hear you talk to people about career advice, about relationship advice, and he goes, and I need both of those things. And I said, oh, okay, what's going on? He goes, well, he said, I started dating this girl in college, and we're still together, and he goes, it's kind of stale at this point. And he goes, but she's there, I guess it's okay. And I was like, I said, well, okay, well, let me just leave that aside. I said, what do you do for a living? He goes, yeah, I work in accounting. And I was like, okay. I said, you like that? He goes, no, I hate it. And I said, okay, why do you hate it? And he goes, well, I don't know, it just doesn't really, I don't know. He said, it just doesn't really fulfill me in any way whatsoever. And I said, so how did you get into both of these places to begin with? He goes, well, I started dating this woman in college, and he goes, and we just kind of stayed together. And he goes, and my brother's an accountant, so I just decided to be an accountant. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. And I said, so it never occurred to you that you could do something, you know, of your own accord? And he said, No, you know, my father's an accountant, my uncle's an accountant, my brother's an accountant. No, I figured I'd be an accountant too. I was like, I mean, I came this close to saying, you're really not serious. You know, I almost laughed. And I said, well, what about this relationship? You go, oh, my brother married a college girlfriend, my father married his college girlfriend, my uncle married his college girlfriend, figured I'd just do the same thing. And finally, I just looked at it, I said, Dominic, I said, you really don't need to do any of this. And he goes, I don't? And I said, no. And I said, you have your own mind, your own taste, your own attitudes. Go do those things. And finally, I tell people often that one of the things that they can do is to sort of make a plan to leave. In either a relationship or, you know, jobs, you could say, well, look, if this relationship doesn't improve by December, I think I need to move on. If this career isn't fulfilling me, then I want to start looking for jobs and start interviewing for jobs at X point, and then start actually getting a new job by July. I don't know. Whatever suits your fancy. So what we've done so far is we've done this sort of on a macro level, on a large level. St. Ignatius gives us a way to do this on our everyday. So at the last couple minutes that we have here, I'd like to go, how many people are familiar with the Examen? Good. Sorry, can someone give me a 10-second definition of what the Examen is, and I'll tell 2 quick stories about it.
Give thanks for your day.
Yeah, giving thanks for your day. That's part of it, sure.
Repentance.
Repentance can be part of it as well, not always, but sometimes.
Reviewing the day.
Yeah, that's a better one. Reviewing the day. St. Ignatius told his followers, or I should say, let me back up a little bit. You probably all know at least some of the story of St. Ignatius, but St. Ignatius ended up convalescing after an injury in war. He was a soldier. And he started reading, some people even say that there were pornographic magazines, but there were really books about chivalry and knighthood and all those kinds of things. And he was really enraptured with all of the romance, and that all these people were well liked by women and everything else. And it really got him going. They ran out of books in the hospital he was in. They gave him a book called The Lives of the Saints, and he started reading about the different lives of the saints that were there, and he found himself even more enraptured by those stories, so much so that he changed his life and founded the Jesuits. And what he wanted his followers, the people who were going to be in this religious order to be, is that he wanted them to have that sort of sense of contemplation that all people in religious life have, but he wanted them to do this in action. He wanted them to do it in the world. Because people in religious life would just go into a monastery and pray all day and not really engage with the world. And he said, well, I want you to be different. So what happened? His followers came back to him after he sort of threw them to the wolves and said, go out into the world and be contemplatives in the world and change the world. And they came back and they said, oh, Father Ignatius, this is terrible. This is a terrible idea. And he said, why? He said, well, we don't have enough time to pray. The demands of the world, we all know this, the demands of the world are so great that we don't have time to pray in our lives. And they said, well, do you think you could at least pray once a day? And I said, sure. And they said, well, if we could only pray once a day, this is the prayer that I'd like you to pray. And it's called the Examen. Some of you say the Examen of Consciousness. Can't say that one. Consciousness, which is different from the examination of conscience, which is what we do before we go to confession. So a little distinction.